Good afternoon, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your other host, Shorty. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Amazing Spider-Man issue 1. And this is not going to be a glowing review, I'm afraid. But it's still got things that I like about it, or at least it's got things which I think could be enjoyable. But first, I'm going to talk about the fact that it's an issue 1. And this is something I've mentioned before. And if you go back and look at all my videos, either YouTube, TikTok, or even when I used to do the podcast back in the day, I always do issue 1s. And people occasionally ask me why don't you, my thoughts on stuff as I carry on. I don't always carry on reading stuff I review. There's simply too many comic books in the world, and I prefer to read stuff that I know I'm going to enjoy rather than stuff that I was only okay with. But issue 1s exist to be there to the start of the story. We constantly get asked, when's a good jumping on point? When can I start reading Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, etc., etc.? And there's always usually a good opportunity to say, well, the start of an arc or the start of an issue 1, new creator comes on board. But I generally don't worry about it too much, simply because you don't wait for the latest episode, or latest season of Coronation Street or any other soap opera from the country you're in to start. You can just jump on. Comic books are designed to be available so you can go back and read them online, or you can grab trade paperbacks, or just knowing basics of a character, then that'll be enough for you to pick up and read a comic book. The problem with this is it's come on the back of Beyond. And some things happening beyond that I have no idea what they are. I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I have not read anything for years in this kind of thing. And it drops you right at the point at the end of it, jumps you 6 months forward, and then you deal with Peter Parker living with the fact that his life has fallen apart. He's broken down his relationship with superheroes, with Aunt May, with MJ, with his friends. Everything has gone wrong. He's trying to find a job. He doesn't want to do crime fighting. The only thing I really know about it is that Ben Reilly was a Spider-Man for a while. Like, I literally have no clue what's going on. And it really was hard to get into it. It was hard to engage with it. And it generally was... I felt like I was just flicking through pages to wait for something to happen. It can be done well. Go and read Al Ewing's Hulk at the start of it. I am not a Hulk fan, but I could pick that up and go with it because he dropped in important, interesting, relevant things when they were needed. It wasn't just a whole bunch of stuff happening, now we're dealing with it kind of situation. Other thing I'm not a huge fan of in this comic book is John Romita Jr.'s artwork. And it's easy for me to say that I don't like his artwork, because I don't. I've tried a few times with things he's done. And I find him both boring and uninspiring. And yes, those are two very different things. I say boring because a lot of his character work looks very, very samey. I say uninspiring because I see comic book artwork as a collaboration between the artist and the writer. And I can't help but feel that when you read these books with Romita on the artwork, he's literally reading a script and putting those words onto a page. And that's fine. Not a huge criticism. Romita is a good artist. Can he draw an amazing exploding building? Yes, he can. Does he do really cool dynamic fight scenes? Yes, he does. But it still doesn't feel like he's had much say in how stuff happens. His layouts are basic. There's very little inclination for me to go back and relook at some, take another look at some artwork to see if there was a hint of what was coming. Looking for foreshadowing that he's dropped in there, that he's subtly woven into the story. I don't get a sense he does any of that. He just does what he's told and gets paid to do it, and he goes home at the end of the day. Yes, it is okay artwork, I suppose. I'm just generally not a fan of it. But if that's what you're looking for, you're probably going to be okay with it. Now we're on to the stuff I do genuinely like. This feels like a Spider-Man comic book. There's a few expectations of Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. Effectively, he's going to be having problems with the fact that he's Peter Parker and the Amazing Spider-Man. And these things can clash and he's causing problems in his life. This is absolutely fine. This happens repeatedly. As I've just said, his life has fallen apart. MJ's gone off and done something else with her life. Aunt May starts moving to a small place and is constantly berating him for lying because she believes him. He's having trouble even making up with friends who used to share a house with. And he's struggling with motivation to actually put the costume back on again. These are all absolutely solid beats of writing for Spider-Man, and they're all done really effectively. Not just that, but there's some fantastic dialogue. Peter Parker as a character is something that should be fun to read. He should be witty and charming and funny and quick-witted, and he is all of those things. And there's a lot of street-level criminality going on in this issue. Yes, they are done by supervillains with powers and strange appearances, which, by the way, was pretty damn useful considering a lot of Romita Jr.'s characters look very, very samey. I'm glad his rogues gallery is at least interesting enough for me to tell who the people are in it. Sorry, I got distracted there. What was my point? Yes, the Peter Parker-ness of it all is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. Everything that I think a fan of Spider-Man would want is in here. If you've been reading the Beyond stuff, then you'll just come into it and you'll know all these little beats of story that I don't. It will make more sense to you. It is not a very good issue 1 Amazing Spider-Man, but it is a good Amazing Spider-Man issue. I just think I've come into it from a point where I was expecting it to be far easier to pick up and follow a story, and also I was kind of hoping for better artwork. But that's just me. I'll be back tomorrow, though. Until then, look Look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.